Here I'm just tracing the pattern onto the piece of mahogany so that way I can cut it out at the bandsaw. I just need to rough cut it out because then I'll put the template on and route it smooth. So I just want to make sure the template's centered on the piece of mahogany right on the center line, and then trace the outline, and then cut it out at the bandsaw. Now I'm just cutting out the outline I just drew, and this will give me the rough shape for the outline of the body. Here I'm taking the original template and making another template that's a little bit thicker and more durable, since I plan on making multiple guitars hopefully, and maybe even selling some of these. I want to make sure my templates are sturdy, so I took a little 1/8 inch template and turned it into a 1/2 inch template with some MDF board. And then here I'm drilling out just a few of the holes for routing. So as soon as I made that first hole there, I realized I busted out the MDF board on the back and cracked it. So I ended up going back, repairing it with glue, and then putting another board underneath it to drill those holes out so it didn't break through the back side of the board. Then I just went ahead and routed out the cavities for the controls, and then the switch tip up on the top, and then the pickup cavity. This is a new tool I'm using. It's called a Robo Sander, and it works like a router with a bearing template guide on it, but instead of a router, it's a sander. And what this does is it gets within 1/32 of an inch of the template, so it sands it really close to the final shape. And that way, once it's really close, then I'll take it over to the router table and route the last 1/32 of an inch. But what this does is it prevents the router, when you route in thick chunks of wood, it'll tear out, big chunks of wood. And so the sander, by sanding it so close to the template, it'll prevent a lot of the tear out when you go and route the final shape. So now I'm just taking that router bit and the pattern following the template there, and it's just taking out that one last 1/32 of an inch with just a sliver of wood. But it smooths it out real nice and takes it down to the exact final shape. Now I'm starting to cut and mill some of the maple top that's going to go glued on top of the mahogany. This is a 2-inch thick board, and it really gave my table saw a strain. It barely got through it, but go slow and repeat it, and it got through. You can see it burned the wood a little bit there. Maple's super hard, and my table saw is super underpowered, so it got through it. Now this is the planer, and it's going to go through, and it's going to make first one side flat, and then I'm going to flip it over, and it'll make the other side perfectly parallel to the first side. So this will get me down to, let's see, this has to be 3/4 of an inch, but I'll take it just over that. I'm sorry, not 3/4. This is still the final board, my bad. This is still 2 inches thick, and I'm planing 2 pieces that are 2 inches thick. Once this is done, then I'll take it over to the jointer and then make sure I joint up an edge which makes it completely flat and perpendicular to the side. So then I can take it to the bandsaw and then cut it lengthwise in half as we saw it. Nice shot on my back there. You can't see a damn thing I'm doing. But this is the jointer jointing the side edge of the billet, so then I can take it over to the bandsaw and then split it sideways and resaw it. And this is the resaw. You'll notice I got a super skinny blade in this. I busted my 3/4 inch blade trying to set it up. Operator error. Playing around with it. And so I broke my thick blade, which is what you're supposed to use for this. So I ended up resawing the huge board with a 1/4 inch blade. But the saw is plenty powerful enough, and the fence and everything set up good. And it actually cut it no problem. Book match, so when you open it up, it reads like a book. Each side is perfectly mirrored of the other.